Oh, what's up, everybody? It is your boy NoisySauce and your man
Tawny Vessels
Tawny
slash
Vessels
Trav.
slash Trav, and we are doing our fourth podcast here. We're talking about software instruments today.
Yes, we are.
Hell yeah,
Everything software instruments. Our
everything software
favorites.
instruments. Yeah, I mean, I am almost 100% software instruments yet, and if I'm not 100% software instruments, I'm at least software amplified, I guess, or software augmented. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, same here. I
So
pretty much have everything in the box.
everything in the box. I guess the only thing not is vocals, but that's still, I mean, affected in the box.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
true. But I still do a shitload of stuff. But yeah. Yeah, so where do you want to start?
I don't know. Let's talk. Let's talk what we have. All right, because
Yep.
I know I have a lot of software instruments.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many you've got. You've got a lot of drum stuff, I assume.
Lots of drums and guitar stuff. I've got quite a few synths as well.
All right. Well, let's start with bundles. Like, what do we got? So I'll let you get started with that. With just like give us an overview of the bundles you've got and like what. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get
I
in.
don't have a great deal of bundles. I have all of the Native Instrument stuff.
Yep.
So that's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's what
I haven't used everything yet.
yeah.
There's a few specific instruments that I really love in that pack, and I just go straight to those.
Yeah.
But in terms of bundles, yeah, I kind of bought individual stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, how about you?
Well, I mean, I've got quite a few bundles. I got the Native Instruments one as well. Mine's a couple of series old. I think I'm on Contact Ultimate 10 or 9. I can't remember. But it's a couple of iterations old. But I've still got massive FM8 Contact, which is just an enormous library of pretty much, you know, it's an endless amount of stuff that you could use. What is it? Reactor, Absinthe. I'm trying to think what else is in there. That's probably
The classics. Yeah,
those are the main ones, aren't they?
yeah.
Yeah. I've also got the Arturia complete bundle, which is, oh my god, that's my favorite. Absolutely
Mm-hmm.
insane group of instruments from them. From they've got a really interesting way of doing things where it's all like algorithm, like they're not samples, like none of it's actually maybe there's one in there that uses samples, but the majority of them is not using samples, and it's they're programmed in, but they're programmed to replicate really popular synthesizers and then add on extra features onto them, so they're like really versatile. So that's cool. I got that from the Arturia bundle. Actually, having that's actually most of what I've got is just those two, Native Instruments and Arturia, and of course Logic comes with an enormous amount of free stuff, which is really good. Like they got
Mm-hmm.
massive amounts of cool shit in there. So that is the majority of my stuff there. I've got Superior Drummer.
Oh yeah.
I got that years and years ago as my main drum programming software, which I still use quite a lot today. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Addictive Instruments, one of the keys bundles. I think I got the Mark One. I think it's like their whole electric keys section,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick.
Oh, and I got Biotech, which is a cool one. We should talk about that later as well. That's a really cool instrument.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of that one.
Yeah, it's a funny one. It actually comes free with Pro Tools, but you
Oh,
don't
okay.
get it like you don't just download it when you download Pro Tools from the site. They just give you a code, and it's kind of hidden somewhere in there. Because one time I went through and I was like, "Yo, what does Pro Tools actually give you?" And I went through all of the different iterations of like what comes for free with Pro Tools, and this plugin was part of the free bundle. And so I went and found it and downloaded it and got it installed and all that. It was really cool.
Yeah, shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Sick. Yeah, I guess I could just give you a quick rundown on what I use, like my staples.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Addictive drums is one of my main ones. I
Yep.
use that pretty much on everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So that's
everything.
your main drum sound
Yeah.
on like your recordings is addictive drums.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, which I play with my electric kit.
Yep.
Um, and then I used to use Amplitude, but now I'm using Guitar Rig because I kind of lost Amplitude, and now I've got the Native Instruments bundle, so Guitar Rig comes with that. So now I've got I'm using pretty much just Guitar Rig now for all my guitars. And synth wise, I'm using all the Native Instruments stuff pretty much. I'm using one. I can't exactly remember what it's called. It's a Juno replica kind of plugin, like the
FM8.
the Roland Juno. No. It's a different plugin completely. Anyway,
Really?
yeah, it replicates like the analog synth, which is like sick. I love that thing.
Oh, really?
But I also use Absinthe. Yeah, Absinthe heaps. Like I love Absinthe so much.
Yeah.
I use Massive a lot, and I use FM8 quite a lot as well.
Yeah.
So that's like the main ones. Other than that, I'm using everything inside of Logic.
Man, the stuff that comes in
Logic has
Logic,
some good stuff in there.
oh,
Yeah,
insane. And the presets, like how they've got all of the plugins already set on the presets and kind of give you some really cool sounds, like insane
yeah,
how good they are.
absolutely.
So let's talk about addictive drums, like what you've got, because that just comes as a full bundle with all of their samples. Is that right?
There's different ways you can get it. Like there's a whole bunch of different packs you can buy from the website.
Yep.
I think I bought one of the higher end ones because I downloaded the demo and I absolutely loved it, so I bought it straight away. But I bought it's kind of like you buy packs of one kit because what they do is they sample one drum kit in one space,
Yep.
right? And then you've got that kit, right? So I think you get 5 or 6 kits in the pack that I got.
Oh, okay.
So you can choose whichever ones you want. I think it was called like the custom XL2 pack or something,
Yep. So
where you get like 6 kits and then you get to choose 6 kit pieces as well and 6 beat packs. Which
Oh,
is
okay.
really cool.
Are they like
Yeah.
MIDI packs of different like
Yeah.
patterns and shit? Oh, cool. So with that, what kind of drum kits did you opt for? Did you go for a more rock sound, or
Yeah.
yeah,
I wanted a balance between rock and like more pop as well.
yep?
So
What's the
yeah, I
difference
needed it to be
between
pretty versatile.
like this is kind of off topic? What's the difference between like a pop and a rock kit, like in terms of sound? Like, what makes what? Because I've always associated pop, like drums, with like kind of ripping off a lot of the rock sounds of the past. Like, what would you say the main differences?
Pop sounds in my mind are like very sampled sounding, like very big sounding drums. Sometimes you even like whether they're acoustic drums or electric. Sometimes like you got all the claps and all that kind of shit
Yeah.
happening. So yeah, but rock, I don't know, rock you can go either way. It just depends what style.
Yeah,
Rock could be,
because rock
you
is
could have
so
everything from,
diverse.
like the tightest snare possible from like the hugest, deepest snare possible,
Yeah.
But pop seems to be like right in the middle, where it's pretty polished.
Do you have a
It's like, yeah,
Oh, sorry, go.
I guess I should have, like, instead of saying pop, I guess I could have like maybe said more indie
Oh,
style
yeah.
drums. So it's like I've got that like real sampley sound, but I've also got like, pretty natural sounding
Mm.
kits as well. So yeah.
So when you're recording, what's your like? Do you have a favorite drum kit that you always kind of gear towards that, or do you use a lot of different? Do you just change it up every time?
I tend to use. There's this one kit. I can't remember exactly what it's called. I could probably pull it up actually, but it's the DW collectors in Addictive Drums.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've actually got Addictive Drums on this PC, so I could actually
Bring it up and
bring it up and yeah, and show you.
that's all right. I was just wondering if you had a go to or not. But
Yeah.
cool. So addictive drums. That's your go to for drums. Like, do you mess with
Yeah.
the Logic stuff at all, or the Native Instruments drum kits?
No, I haven't messed with any of that stuff yet.
The Native Instruments ones are really cool. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so personally, when I'm getting my like drum kit sound, like when it's an actual kit, I mostly rock with electronic style drum kits via battery. But when I do use natural sounding drums, which I do quite often, it's I've got all the Native Instruments ones in Contact. I've got the what's the one I said before? Superior Drummer,
Yeah.
which is Superior Drummer 2, the old one, not the new one, which apparently has like just obscene amounts of gigabytes of data. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've got two, and there's I got a pack. This is another pack that is within Contact, but I bought separately. It's the Get Good Drums, Matt Halpin. No, Modern and Massive is the name of the kit. And that's
Okay.
they're kind of like it's the guys from Periphery, the prog band Periphery, and they went to a studio and sampled their kit, and that's a really really good sounding, really nice room drum kit. It's kind of a bit more specific sounding, but
Yeah.
the ones that come with Native Instruments in Contact, there's so much diversity in there. You've got like they've got 60s, 70s, 80s, modern, and studio drummer.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's it. So they've got those like categories, but within that, I think some of them have two, some of them have three completely different kits
Mm-hmm.
that you can choose from. So like in the studio drummer, I think they've got like a rock kit, a garage kit, and I can't remember what the other one is, but all that, and the presets are really good too. So I think they're good. They're probably not as well sampled as the addictive drums kits are, or even the superior drummer kits,
Mm-hmm.
but in terms of diversity of sound, like you like if you've already got Native Instruments, you get all of that given to you straight off the bat, which is
Yeah.
like pretty cool. And although the mixing inside Contact of those drum kits is really janky, and it's kind of hard to find where the mixing is in there, it's like the menu is just shit. I don't know why they've done it the way they have. Like you got to click on something that makes no sense to find where the like the EQs and all that are. But it is like they are quite good sounding kits. So
Yeah.
worth checking them
I
out.
should try them out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, next time you got a session and you want something that kind of sounds 60s, like bring one up and see how it sounds.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
You might be surprised.
I might be.
Might be.
I'm so used to the functionality of addictive drums these days.
Yeah.
Just because I just found, I remember years ago, I was doing a lot of research on what I thought, well, what people thought was the best sounding drum software.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew that the industry was turning in that direction.
Mm.
I knew like recording drum kits wasn't really a necessity anymore.
Hell no.
So this just kept on coming up everywhere. Like everyone was talking about addictive drums. And now I know exactly what they mean because it's so versatile inside of the actual piece of software.
Yeah.
You can
What's
do anything to the sound
what's the name of the
inside
company
of its
again?
own plugin. XL
X.
XLN Audio.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they make some plugins as well, which are really cool.
Mm.
They've got like they do keys.
Yeah. Which I've got
That's
one of the
more of a
bundles of.
recent kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty like very natural sounding piano.
Mm. The
Um,
menu
and
is so whack though.
yeah,
Like I don't know
I mean,
what.
I'm used to digital drums, so like it made sense to me. But I guess like
Have you got the keys one as well? Do you?
yeah,
I can't, like there's like these different pages that are completely like they don't make any sense together. Like I maybe I'm using it wrong, but whenever I open it up, I'm like, what the hell am I looking at? Like it's the same instrument, but there's three different pages that lays it out in different ways where you can either choose presets or you can like edit it yourself. And I don't know if I'm using it right or not, so I always get
yeah.
confused with that one. But
I don't use it a lot, to be honest. I use the Logic piano sounds
they're quite
a
good.
lot because they sound pretty good. So
Yeah.
I'd choose those.
Um. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. If I had to pick one drum kit, if I was like, oh, you have to pick a drum kit that's gonna sound good, I would probably go with Superior Drummer out of my kit.
Hmm.
Just because I think that's a great sounding kit. It's well sampled, and I don't have any. I was going to buy some packs and get some extra drum kits, but I've just got the one that comes with the standard one, which is the New York kit. I think it's a beast of a kit, and it comes with a few different
Hmm.
snares and like coded or uncoded toms, and a few different cymbals and shit like that. So you get a
Yeah,
bit of diversity there and a few drum patterns to play with.
yeah, yeah, shit, yeah. Does Superior Drummer? Can you run all separate channels out of that?
Yeah.
Like, can you run? Yeah, so you can run everything into individual channel strips.
Yeah. And I think you
Yeah.
can on Contact as well. I haven't,
Oh, really?
yeah, I haven't done it, but I'm pretty sure there's a way of doing that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's the best thing about like, well, one of the really cool things of Addictive as well is you can print all of the audio and record them straight into all of your multi tracks as a real drum kit, and then you can process them however you want with whatever plugins you want.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's so sick.
Mm.
And that way, if you want to add even more stuff, like you want to trigger them, put samples on them, all that kind of stuff, it's really easy.
Yeah. Yeah, drums are a huge a huge use of hard drive space, and
Mm.
also like a big thing to get into because there's so much sampling and so many variables that make a drum kit sound great. I mean, like not just the kit themselves, but how the people who have done it have set them up and how they've mic'd it up and the processing they've used going into the recording, and then the ability to process it and then the ability to spit it out to multi-tracks or not. It's like a huge game.
Yeah,
But I think most of the places are doing a fairly decent job of it right now.
yeah,
Actually,
definitely. I'd love to know what's out there now because I've had Addictive for ages, man.
yeah.
I'd probably say like at least 5 or 6 years. So like I haven't tried anything else in that time. So it'd be pretty keen to see. I don't know if anyone else who's watching uses much drum software. If there's anything that you think is like on par with Addictive or better, or Superior Drummer, then hit us up in the comments there.
Yeah.
So I'd love to check it out. I'm always looking for cool shit.
Slate drums were pretty big for a while, but they kind of dropped off. So like
Mm.
similar to what they were doing with Trigger, but they had their own software, um, like yeah, drum machine thing going on as well. So they were doing
Yeah,
quite well, but I haven't heard of them doing much in the drum realm for quite a while. I think they kind of abandoned the drums stuff more to just focus on their plugins and all that kind of stuff, their microphone kits and all that kind of shit.
mm.
Yeah,
I use Slay Trigger a lot still.
yeah. Slate Trigger's sick,
That's so sick.
hands down the best
Um,
triggering. I mean, I say that
yeah,
having not tried
I
another
haven't found one
triggering
that's better
software
than
for
that.
ages.
I definitely haven't found one that's better than that.
No,
But I ended up just buying Slate Trigger because it was so good.
Oh man,
I
I had
yeah,
it.
I downloaded a demo and it worked really well, so just ended
Yeah,
up buying it.
I think it was one of the first plugins I ever bought. Um, when I first started producing, yeah, Slate Trigger. I can't even think of another plugin that I would have bought before that.
Yeah,
Maybe the Waves bundle.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, cool plugin. Great for triggering. I mean, they're kind of timeless, really.
Hmm.
That's the thing about those kind of drum samples is like people are always going to want to get like really big, open sounding drum kit sounds, and yeah, Slate brings the fire.
Absolutely. But I also love that you can bring in your own samples for Slate Trigger.
Mm.
That's why I mainly got it because when I record drums in the studio, I like to record samples in the studio, as you know, because you helped me work on some of the Tony Mountain tracks. And we did this with our latest single, Nothing More to Say. We recorded all the drums, but then we sampled the kit of like in the studio,
Mm.
and then I ended up using those samples with Slate Trigger in the actual session, just
So
to get some of the bleed out of the mics. You know, you can bring those other mics down a bit and just have your samples kind of riding throughout the
that's
track.
cool.
And
So you're triggering
just
the same sound as you had, like the exact same drum that was playing. You were
yeah,
triggering that same sample, obviously
hmm
recorded previously, and then layering that on the original sample so that you could reduce the
correct.
level and get rid of some of the bleed. That's a
Yep.
really cool idea.
Yeah, I love doing that, and that way your drum sound still sounds really nice and natural,
Yeah,
and it is basically.
yeah,
It's just
because
a little bit cleaner, and it's a bit easier, yeah, to get those mics punching through, or that like those drums really punching, without fighting the bleed. It's good.
cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk guitar
But yeah.
amps.
All right.
So we're both using Guitar Rig,
Yep.
which is just like it's insane how much stuff is in Guitar Rig, like the amount of processing power, the amount of amps that they give you, all that kind of stuff. I mean, just
Yeah.
having complete Ultimate is like it's a really expensive bundle, but like you can't really argue that it's worth it when you check out how much you get given at the end of it.
Oh yeah. It's yeah. You got a lot of quality stuff. I'm gonna sneeze.
Bless you. Yeah,
Bless your soul, man.
yeah.
Um.
I've been using a lot of guitar amp sims for years and years and years, and
Yeah.
I found some that sound better um, than Guitar Rig for certain like for specific things. Like for example, if I'm using like a metal guitar tone, like a really heavy metal one, I've got one from Joey Sturgis Tones, which is a Jason Richardson uh, guitar amp that he built, and he's just this metal guitarist, and they just made his sound, and they only really gave him, I think, two cab tones. Like there is a clean, a distortion, and a like lead tone there, and they only put, I think, two or three pedals in there, so
Yeah.
really limited on what you get given in there, but the tones you get, especially on that, like the distortion overdrive, are like the best. So if I'm playing metal, I'm using that. But
Yeah.
when it comes to like if I'm kind of experimenting with guitar tones and just trying to find like a cool crunch tone, I can't think of much better than Guitar Rig for yeah what it's got in it, the ability to experiment, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely versatile enough
Yeah.
for what
Uh,
it is
So
as well.
you had Amplitude, yeah?
Yeah. I
IK
really
Multimedia.
liked the Amplitude.
I've
Sorry.
IK Multimedia, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got that. I think I've still got it. Shows how much
Amplitude
I
was
use
great,
it.
man.
Sorry.
So good. Amplitude was really good.
Do you reckon it's better than Guitar Rig?
Oh, I reckon they're probably pretty close to each other now.
Yeah.
But there was a while where Amplitude just shat on Guitar Rig.
Amplitude were the first to kind of get all of the big names behind them and be able
Yeah.
to do like they had like the Fender bundle and the Orange bundle, and they were
Yeah.
actually
And that
sponsored
was
by the
so...
brand, and they weren't just giving him like, you know, names that were kind of close, like the Lemon
Yeah.
guitar amp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah, but I don't know.
Ah.
I lost Amplitude because once I crossed over to my Mac
Mm.
and did everything on my Mac, I lost Amplitude. So I ended up using Logic plugins for a while, which were trash. They were pretty bad.
One thing that
And I
Logic
think,
does not do well is guitar amp simulators.
yeah, it's pretty bad. I used them on one track, but that
Yeah.
track ended up sounding okay. But like, it was an odd guitar tone, but I really liked it. That was my first single, "Where I Want to Be." That
Oh,
was actually all
really?
Logic. Yeah, it was all Logic guitars. Yeah.
I mean,
But
they
like,
don't sound
I played
bad.
them and they worked. No,
Mm.
they don't sound bad. But
They're
they were like, it was a really, really weird sound, but I liked it because they had a lot of character, I thought. But now I've been tracking everything with Guitar Rig and it sounds so much better.
yeah.
I love it. It sounds so good, like, especially like the newer ones. Well, I just showed you one of my new tracks today in
Yeah.
the studio.
Oh, guitar sounded great.
Yeah. So like, it's a big difference, I think, when you invest in some guitar software,
Yeah.
for sure.
We've got
For sure.
a message from Not Daniel, and it's
Oh,
asking
what's up, man?
if we've tried Bias Effects 2 from Positive Grid, and yeah, it's actually a really cool plugin, and I own it, but I haven't played with it that much. Yeah, I have I don't even know how I got it. I think I got it for free with something. I don't know how. Oh, actually, I think it came with Slate. It was one of Slate's things. But yeah, that's a really cool one for like, man, I should definitely play with it because it's got a lot of features in there where you can go like, I think you can go like really in depth and like bias the tubes and like, you know, change the transistor ratings and shit like that. That it's like, I'm probably butchering the the process there, but like you can really get into it and go in depth with your tone. So if you're a tinkerer, which I am not, which is why I haven't played with it that much, that's a really cool one.
Interesting. I kind of want to look at that and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Bias Effects 2.
Bias Effects 2, it's yeah, Positive Grid is the name of the company, and they've got a bit of stuff there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I remember it. I was quite interested in it after I had my Axe Effects because with the Axe Effects unit, you had very similar capabilities with going in depth and like, yeah. Oh, man, I can't even remember the name of what you can do. Like, you change like the resistance of things and like, yeah, tune the valves. Yeah. You know what
Actually,
I mean.
it looks really, really, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's
it's
some pretty
sick.
classic stuff in there. Yeah, no, that's cool.
I should definitely play with it more. It's probably got the best guitar amp tones on my computer, and I just refuse to open it up because I hate tinkering too much. I'm more of a
Yeah, it looks really cool, Daniel. Thanks for
yeah.
telling us about that, bro. How much is it? That's the fucking real question.
I don't think it's that much.
$60 for
Yeah.
the standard pack,
Yeah,
which is American, so $4,000 Australian.
I think it's about 100. You should just come over sometime and we'll have a play around with the tones and see if you dig. It's like how it works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, actually,
Absolutely keen for that.
now that I think about it, I do have other. Man, I've got other guitar amps. Oh, I should probably just open up this thing. I do have Amplitude 4. Here we go. I got Bias Amp 2 here on the old computer. I've got another one from that comes through with Axe Effects. It's the THU. No, not Axe Effects. Sorry, with the Slate bundle. It's the THU Slate pack. And actually, they came with another one as well. So I do have quite a lot of guitar amp stuff, which is cool.
Yeah.
I just got to get into it and play with it. S-Gear, that's the other one that comes with Slate, which is really, really nice for clean guitars. Like, just has really solid, clean sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell
Really,
yeah.
really cool. But yeah,
All right.
there's a bunch of guitar talk.
Yeah, that's it.
So
All right. So that's what we use for guitar.
That's
I
what-
don't really have anything else to say about guitar software.
actually, I do, which is kind of like
Alright.
it's a bridge between guitar and like amps and instruments. Bass guitars. Now you play most of your bass or all of your bass. Do you program
Yeah.
anything?
I did. There was a while there where my bass guitar was broken. So
So you programmed everything
Tides,
then?
actually. This is a fun fact for you. My latest single for Tiny Vessels, Tides, all of the bass was actually done with a MIDI bass.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, that was all just Logic as well.
Oh, so you're using
Uh,
Logic's MIDI bass.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was all just MIDI bass. Just because my bass guitar was broken,
Oof.
I didn't have time to, get it. Well, I didn't have time to fix it or like borrow someone else's or whatever. So I just smashed it out with MIDI bass,
Yeah.
and it didn't sound out of place because that song's pretty. It's pretty just.
I was going to say it sounds good. I
Straightforward.
mean, I hate Logic's MIDI bass.
Yeah.
But if it works, it works. Like, it's one of those things.
Well, yeah. I don't think anyone would have heard it and been like, "Oh, actually, that sounds like MIDI bass." But
Yeah. I mean, you're
I
going to
mastered it pretty well.
be... Yeah.
But yeah, it's a thing.
That's sick.
Just because I didn't have time to do it. It's since been fixed. Since I've been in lockdown, I fixed the bass guitar, so everything else is proper bass. But just that one track, I didn't have time.
I'm
So-
not against MIDI bass. I mean, what's the difference between MIDI bass and MIDI keys? Like it's
Yeah.
just another instrument, or MIDI drums. Like it's
I
just
guess it's just a bit whack doing it in like a rock indie track.
yeah, true. But if it sounds good, it
Correct.
sounds good. And more people are doing MIDI bass because I feel like more than guitar, bass is more volatile. Like, it's more likely to sound shit.
Yeah.
In my
It's a
opinion.
key.
Sorry.
Yeah. And you also know it's going to be in key.
Yeah, and like if your guitar's a little bit out of tune, I mean, I don't like guitar being out of tune. Oh, sometimes it's cool. But if your guitar's out of tune, it kind of sounds rock and roll. But if your bass is out of tune, it just sounds trash.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like, yeah, I MIDI most of my bass because I'm a trash bass player. That's the main reason. Also, it's easier, and my bass guitar is pretty shit too. But I use Native Instruments' bass guitars for most of the stuff for that, and they're really cool. So they've got like, with Contact, the one that we've got, you get P bass, Rickenbacker, and a Music Man replica, and there's a lot of different they've got the two different pickups, like you can either use front, back, or both, and there's also a bunch of different tones that you get with it, and you stack that up with Guitar Rig's bass amps, and you can get some like really solid sounding bass tones, and the sampling on the playing it's not just like a synthesizer, and it's not just one note. Like, they sample it properly, and there's like little things like if you play two notes too close together, it'll slide it, or no, it'll hammer on instead of play it, because there'd be no way to play it. So it does a hammer on for you. Or if you play notes quickly, it makes it like plays it like it's two fingers, but if you play it slowly, it plays it like it's one finger, and it replicates all of those sounds really, really well. So that's a cool sampler if you're not as good a bass player and you want to get a good bass sound, or if you don't have a bass. I'd use that any day on a pro record because I think it just sounds great, and you'll very rarely tell the difference. And 9 times out of 10, it'll end up being better than if you played it yourself, and also more easily changeable too, which is cool.
That's one huge benefit of MIDI instruments is you're not locked into any one sound.
Yeah.
So if I've tracked a song with Addictive or something, I can go back and change the snare drum if I'm like, oh, it's not really working for me, you know?
Yeah.
Or whatever. I can swap whatever I want out. Especially with the guitars as well. You can just go in and then just tweak whatever you want. And I'm so used to that world now, where it's like it's almost scary going into a studio, and if someone was to be like, "Yep, this is the drum sound. Yep, this is the guitar amp that you're going to be using," I'll be like, "Fuck."
Oh,
but can you split it so I can DI and reamp later?
I mean, going into a studio to record drums. I mean, let's compare the pair. You've got. Let's just say your choices are you got to either go into the studio, record drums, and you're starting from scratch. Like you're not a drummer. You just like you got to go in and start from scratch. And the alternative is obviously doing MIDI. You got to buy a drum kit, which for a decent drum kit you're looking $3,000 minimum.
Yeah, you could get away with a $2,000 kit these days.
$2,000 to $3,000.
We'll be generous and say $2,000.
Yeah, so $2,000 for the drum kit. You're paying the studio. I mean, to record, mix, $1,000 at least for a day.
$1,000 a day.
Yeah, and then if you're doing it yourself, you got to have the microphones, all that kind of stuff. That's a lot of money for something that has such little capability to change it. And in comparison, you buy Addictive drums for what, $200, $300?
Yep.
And you've got all these different sounds you can play with. You can record as many songs as you want on them. It comes with presets. It comes with MIDI patterns. It is actually insane. You don't even need to be able to play drums to record on Addictive drums. So
you just drag and drop beats in wherever you want. Fills as well. It all comes with Addictive.
Yeah.
I don't really use pre-made beats just because, I'm a drummer, so I like to do it all myself.
Definitely.
But, to know that it's like Addictive especially is being used, I just feel like I should be an Addictive drums rep.
Yeah. Oh man.
But they use it on Bruno Mars's first big record.
Oh really?
You know that one, Catch a Grenade for You.
Oh my god, yeah, I know that one.
That album. He had like fucking 5 or 6 singles off that album at least.
Oh yeah.
But like everything off that whole thing was all Addictive. Which I was just like, that's crazy.
If it's good enough for Bruno Mars.
Yeah, exactly.
It's, and that's, it is crazy. And that's like, I mean, I'll go software most of the time. I think studio, the benefits of going to a studio is all vibe.
Yeah.
It's like you're going into a studio, and I love going into a studio and recording drums. There's not much more fun than you can have than doing that, but it's not an economic way of recording, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Personally.
it. And the other thing is especially with MIDI instruments like that, you can smash out. If you can play drums, bass, and guitar, you can write a full song and have it sounding like an actual song within a few hours.
Yeah, insane.
You know, you could just save presets and just be like, all right, I'm gonna write all these tracks cohesively. And it's so easy.
Yeah.
And a demo doesn't sound like a demo; it almost sounds like a release. You know. I've done that heaps of times and shown you demos where I'm just like, hey man, I just recorded this, whatever, and you're like, this sounds like it's ready to go.
Yeah,
you know? And it's like, well, that's all just software stuff. and you're like, fucking, who cares?
Yeah, use it.
I'm like, but it's like a it's like a weird thing, isn't it? It's like some people are like, oh, you didn't really record it properly or whatever.
Yeah.
Some people feel funny about using MIDI instruments as opposed to going into a studio because that's the traditional way to make a record or a song.
I tell you,
And people like, I don't know. It's like a weird vibe about that,
Yeah, it's because people want things to cost money to do. Like they don't want people don't want software instruments to be as good as the real thing. They don't want plugins to be as good as hardware instruments. They don't want you to be able to master everything on your computer at home. They want it to be like they want the $5,000 compressor to be the best sounding thing in the world. Like it's something to do with like it's the money. It's the justification of purchases. I think. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a pretty broad statement, but like that's like I had a guy the other day, and he was like, he messaged me. And he's like, "Yo, do you master?" I'm like, "Yes." And I kind of gave him a rundown of prices, and he's like, "Okay, is it software or hardware, or are you using hardware?" I said, "Oh, it's all software. I only use software." And he said, "Oh, I don't really want to do it." I'm like, "You heard my music. You wanted to do it with me after hearing the master, but then when you found out that it wasn't like that I wasn't using the gear that you wanted to use, you didn't want to do it. Like, what the fuck is with that? Like,
Yeah.
if you like the sound, you like the sound. Like, yeah,
It's a pretty interesting argument, really.
yeah.
As long as the product comes forward, who cares how it was achieved?
Oh, and like,
In my opinion, anyway. Like, who's mixing like on an analog console these days? Would you say that to somebody if you send a mix to someone?
yeah,
It's like, oh, did you actually mix that on your SSL console, or did you do that in Pro Tools?
yeah,
And like, oh, of course I did it in Pro Tools. Like, oh no,
yeah,
no. It's the same. That's the kind of the same thing for me. Obviously, there's like incredible gear out there for mastering and mixing and all that kind of stuff, but
yeah. There is, and like
it doesn't matter.
no,
It doesn't matter that much.
I don't think
anymore.
I don't think it really changes the sound that much. And if it does, I mean, it's all down to ear anyway. But I would.
A good experience.
It would be
for sure.
great experience and be awesome fun. But I don't want to have to pay the amount of money that it costs to have that SSL console every single day to
no
do
one
it.
can justify that.
And then also have to do the ridiculous amount of recalling that it takes every single time you want to do a mix on each song. Like,
Yeah.
have you seen someone try and recall an SSL console for a mix?
I've heard people talk about it. I've never seen it.
It is
I remember
fucking
watching a few videos.
stupid.
Yeah.
It's like,
fuck that.
like because like I mean we've grown up our whole lives mixing albums on software. Like when you see the amount of trouble that like they go through to recall every song, it is just, oh my god. And like most of the time, like with the SSL ones, that like the higher end ones, they've got like it's software based. So what it does is it's got a screen up there, and you kind of turn the knob, and it tells you when you're at the point where you should be with that knob, and then you go to the next one, and it's a lot quicker. But like, I mean, back in the day, before all that, they would have had pieces of paper that would have had approximate positions of where you had to put each knob, and then you'd put those knobs in those approximate positions, and like,
oh
fuck
God.
that.
That reminds me of when like I kind of came into the live scene at a good time when like digital consoles were kind of coming in.
Oh, did you?
But like I still remember having to take photos of consoles and like writing down all of the EQs for the headliner or all that kind of shit.
Oh yeah, nah.
Remember that shit?
Yeah, oh definitely. Man, I never did that. I just like I mixed every band on the fly. I was like, and if a band came in and were like, I want to do we want to do a full sound check, and we were rocking a non-digital console, I would tell them, I'd be like, look, we can
It
do
is
a
what it
sound
is.
check, but it's gonna change by the time we get back
Yeah.
to you. Because not a yeah, I mean, I think that whole thing was a bit of a wank fest anyway. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're
That's it's a weird one because like your mix progresses through the night as well. So to recall a sound check.
yeah, I
Like
feel like I'd be going backwards.
I don't know. Yeah, you
Yeah,
definitely would be going backwards.
yeah, because like by the
I don't even really do that with digital consoles.
yeah, me either. I like by the
Yeah.
end of by the time I get to a head, unless it's like unless there's multiple mixes and I've made my mix for the headliner or you know whoever,
Yeah.
then I'll do a recall. But like I feel like I'm like my you know I'm tweaking the every drum as the whole thing goes forward, and you just yeah. I don't know why you would go backwards and recall the shitty sound that you started with, or
Yeah.
and the other
Well,
thing is the room fills up
exactly.
with
Yeah.
people, and the sound of the room changes and it heats up, and you know everything changes, and everybody's ears get like manipulated by the sound throughout the night. So you got to kind of you got to like change that and justify for it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, we are way off topic.
We are so off topic right now.
Oh my
I was
god.
just about to say that we're talking about live sound.
We're talking about live sound. What are we doing?
That's not software instruments, is it?
Software instruments at all.
All
All right.
right. Well, let me throw it back your way, mate, because I know you use quite a few different tools for, especially drums.
Mm-hmm.
You're not using Addictive. You actually use you use some other stuff, right?
Battery.
Battery. That's it. Let's talk battery for a
All
bit.
right. Let's talk about battery. I actually made a video on how much I love battery and the capabilities within it. So battery is a sampling, like a drum sampler. Well, it's actually just a sample sampler. Sample sampler? It's just a sampler.
Hmm.
Kind of geared towards drums. And it is super cool. It has, so you got like a grid of cells that you can put any sound you want in there. As long as it's, a WAV or a MP3 or whatever, you can put any sample in the grid and then manipulate it with pitch, modulation. You can put harder attack on it, change the release, change the envelope of the sound. You can filter it, EQ it, compress it, saturate it. There's endless amounts of things you can do on that on battery, and I think that's really really cool. And that's what I do. I'd say 90% of my, probably more, like 95% of my drum programming is all with battery. Multi outs as
Yeah.
well, which I definitely use. Yeah, big fan of battery, which is obviously a native.
I need to start
instruments.
using that.
Oh, it is insane, bro. It's like I think it is vastly underutilized with the capabilities that it has. Because one thing that I find a lot of the hip hop and electronic music world is very obsessed with the samples that you can get. And so everyone's trying to get like great samples, and so everyone's like scouring these kits for these great samples, but they're not manipulating the samples that they have very well. And I think battery is a perfect example of a like instrument that you can really
It's a beautiful
manipulate
way to do it.
yeah, you can get whatever sound you want. I mean, it's like the layering in it is insane. So you can like very quickly layer instruments and manipulate them all differently and have them all come out of bus and then process them together and all this kind of shit, and create your own sample. So I don't really buy into that whole you got to have great samples mentality. I feel like you have to know how to manipulate the sounds that you have, more so. And there's I mean the sounds that come with battery is like endless, bro. Like you've got like every time I try and find a sound that I want to start with, I go into the battery library, and there's a cool like functionality where you just go into a folder within the program and you can look at your computer folders and it'll play that whatever sound you click on, which is really cool. And I just sit there with the down arrow and it just goes brrrr through all the kicks until I hear something that I think is kind of close to what I want. But I can sit there with the down arrow on just kick drums alone and it'll just keep going and going and going for like a minute, just going brrrr. So there's just like so many samples, and then you take those samples and you figure out how much you can manipulate them, and Jesus Christ, there's so much you can do. So yeah, drum sampling is huge for me. That's my main one. Battery. I also use it not only for like making kits, because I've made quite a few kits on there, but also for pitching like different instruments. So like you can kind of insert an instrument in and then have it pitch across a whole bunch of notes. So it's really good for 808s. If you're creating like tuned 808s, you just throw a sample in there and have it pitched across and then manipulate them all together. I mean, most samplers can do that. Or like, tuned trap hats or trap snares or whatever like that. Really cool for that kind of shit. Really dig it. But speaking of samplers, the new Logic sampler is pretty insane. Which
that is.
Yeah.
I was playing with that the other day, and I made a pad synth by using my vocals. So I think I used 5 notes in total.
Yeah.
And I just dragged it into the sampler, and then it was just it automatically made a full synth of all my vocals.
That's sick.
And then I put guitar rig over the top of it, and put like a whole bunch of whack, like guitar reverb and reverse delays and all this other stuff, and then it was just a full on like pad synth.
Yes.
But it had like that unique tonality of
more like a
my
Trav
vocal.
synth.
That's it. Trav Synth 5.
Trav synth. Hell yeah.
But yeah. Like I intend on doing that kind of stuff way more now, because that way, like your song, I know it's got more of an identity. You can hear a synth and be like, oh, that's kind of reminds me of like his voice, but I don't know why, or just shit like that, where it's got your characteristics in it.
Yeah, there's something about that sampler. It's the ease of how quick it is to make.
One drag and drop, man. You just drag and drop whatever you want in there,
or even
works.
record.
Awesome.
Like one thing, like I did a couple of things with it the other day. One was I wanted a percussive element that was quite unique. I wanted a kind of a breath sound. So I had my mic sitting here like this, and I just opened up the sampler, went to the record tab, hit record, went and then it automatically dragged it onto my keyboard and pitched it across the whole thing. And so I just like played across the keyboard, found the pitch that I thought sounded the coolest for that breath, and then I recorded the rhythm that I wanted that in. And it took me from creating the sound from scratch, manipulating it, and then recording the rhythm of it. It probably took less than a minute. And that is an insane workflow.
That's insane. That's crazy.
Like, I mean, obviously I had the mic already set up, so that was kind of a help. But like Christ, like how quick can it be?
Yeah, that's so sick.
One of the other
that's
cool,
exactly what you need as a creator.
Yeah, one of the other cool things I found with it is creating unique sounds with it. Is you might like this as well for just like creating something a little bit different and whack. Is I just hit record, and I just like sang a whole bunch of like weird different things, like kind of quickly, and it was probably about 10 seconds worth of just like notes and stuff. And then put it into the what's the tab? The one where it chops it up. Like it chops it in different samples and puts that across the keyboard. And then from there I played those notes and created a different melody out of the sample that I made by playing what I'd sung in a different order, like by how it had chopped it up. And that was really cool because I got to create something completely different that I would never have thought of had I just, done it. And again, like minutes it took. Like, probably about the same, like 1 minute. And then I ran it into an auto tuner because, it wasn't very in tune. But that's cool. Yo, Rex Khan, what's going on?
Yo, Rex, what's your favorite software instrument, bro? Let us know.
Rex
What
Khan,
about you too? Not Daniel, if you're still watching, bro. What's your favorite MIDI instrument?
let us know.
Or anyone who's watching, actually. Let us know what your favorite MIDI instrument is.
I don't actually know. Do you have an idea of how many people are? Can you see how many people are on? Does it tell you?
It's about 5. Yeah.
Mine tells me 4, but it's been 4 since the start, so I think it's lying to me.
Oh no, it's been going up and down.
Okay, good.
It just went from 5 to 4, so we just lost someone.
I think that might have been Rex Khan.
It's all right,
He didn't want to be addressed.
He just dropped in for a quick "G'day, mate."
Samplers. I mean, those are 2 great samplers. The Logic stock standard one, it's so much better than it used to be, and so much easier to use.
Yeah, it's really good.
Battery, I think, is super, super powerful. But I mean, I can see myself using the Logic one more and more.
Yeah, definitely. It's really, really cool. I'm not really one to use samplers at all, but when I checked that out the other day, it did it for me.
Yeah.
So
I think the whole chopping up of sounds is a really underutilized thing with with modern samplers. I think there's some really cool sounds that can be gotten from that whole idea of like playing something in that's really organic and then picking chop points and playing it in on a keyboard. I think that's like we're going to hear a lot more of that. I mean, we already do hear it. Like a lot of people do it, but I think it's going to be utilized quite a bit more, especially because it's getting easier and easier to do that kind of music, which is cool. I know I'm going to be doing it a lot more in my beats. So
yeah, absolutely.
Hear that with
I don't really do beats per se, but I think I'll be doing that.
Everything's a beat.
Quite a bit as well. I'll be doing some indie rock beats.
Indie rock beats, that's it. It's still beats. There's a category. There's a category on BeatStars for indie rock beats, so you can chuck it on.
That's it. What are you drinking, mate? We never
talked about what we're drinking. All right, so tonight I've gone fancy with the wine, and I'm drinking the Magic Box, which is an amazing Cabernet. Actually, it's quite nice. I don't mind it. I bought it because the label looked fancy, and that's the kind of guy I am.
Hell yeah!
What are you drinking there, buddy?
I got Big Wave by Kona.
Oh, Big Wave by Kona. There you are.
I don't know if Big Wave is just by Kona, the Kona Brewery. Where's this actually made?
Indie rock beats are the next big thing, says not Daniel.
Maybe I should start just doing some NoisySauce style shit with my indie rock beats.
Get some singer-songwriter trap going. Now that I think is where the future is. Rock and roll, like indie trap. Let's make that happen. I mean, Post Malone is kind of like indie trap, isn't he?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
If you just replace these like electric drums with actual drums, it would just sound exactly like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
it's made in the US, by the way.
Made in the US. I think we should use trap sensibilities on like real drum kit samplers. So like doing like machine gun hi-hats, but they're real sounding hi-hats and shit like that. That's the next thing.
Interesting.
John Mayer's daughter The John Mayer Daughter Trap remix is the GOAT. There you go. I would play it right now, but if I play anything that isn't copyright owned by us, we're gonna get struck, which I don't want to do. So
But we'll check that out.
We'll
I feel
check
like you've shown me that before, Daniel. I feel like I've seen that.
Daniel is he has shown me some of my favorite things over the time that I've known him.
So good.
He just knows good shit.
He does.
Good stuff, Daniel. Thanks for the recommendations. All right, let's get on to synthesizers.
All right.
So I have so many synths that I use, and that is because I gotta drop some trap bass line behind some indie drums. There you go. Some big 808, some
easy.
Behind some indie drums. I reckon that could work.
I can fucking get you some indie drums happening, mate, any day.
Man, let's make it happen. Actually, we're working on
any kind of drums
track together right now. I should have put some trap hats on that one. Damn.
Yeah, true.
Next time.
I mean, actually, the kit I used for that wasn't really a rock kit, was it?
No.
But I kind of played it.
You played it like a rock kit, but it was more of an electronic kit. That sounded to me. Was that the Lindrum?
Off the top of my head, I think so.
Yeah.
But I manipulated it quite a bit, so it doesn't actually sound like Lindrums too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So synthesizers.
Cool.
Let's get to synthesizers. Yeah. Do you have go-tos for anything?
Yes.
All right. Hit me some of your go-tos.
So I have a songwriting template, right?
Yeah.
Which has all of my MIDI instruments ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Just like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I have 6. Is it 6? No, I have 8 synth channels already set up and ready to go with my favorite presets on them already.
Oh yeah.
That I've made. But I've got two synths that are both absinthe. I got 2 that are both massive. I got 2 that are FM8, and then I've got 2 which are that analog Juno.
Yeah,
so I can actually find the name out of that if you want.
Wait, did you say that's Native Instruments or is that Waves?
The Juno thing.
Yeah.
It's neither.
Oh.
It's a different company.
Oh, okay. That's why I don't have it.
I can find out if you want.
Yeah. That's all right.
Anyway, it's it's Roland, I think.
Yeah.
Roland? Yeah. Roland Juno. Look up that analog synthesizer. It is it's just a MIDI-based software version of that analog synth.
Yeah. And
it's so sick. My housemate actually has one, a real one, in his room.
No shit.
In his studio. Yeah. Which I have used, but this plugin just sounds so good anyway. So I use that too, just for some cool stuff.
Recallability
that's my go-tos, man. Other than that, it's all Logic stuff, all piano, synth, strings.
Yeah. Wait, you use the Logic strings?
Yeah, I don't use a lot of strings though.
All right, do me a favor. Next time you are using strings, open up your contact and go to session strings.
All right.
So
I haven't actually downloaded Contact yet.
Okay, because that's going to take up a lot of space.
The biggest amount of space.
Yeah. Okay, so you first download Contact onto just download it onto an external hard drive.
Yeah.
May as well.
Yeah, I should.
But the session strings on that are insanely good.
Yeah, I've heard them. I'm pretty sure they used Contact for Avatar, that movie.
It wouldn't surprise me.
They used I'm pretty sure they used Contact for the whole fucking movie.
Yeah, I mean there's different.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, there's different levels of the string, different types of strings. The session strings that comes with Ultimate is like I think it's like an 11-piece string section or something like that. So it's not like it's not like a full orchestra, but it is a pretty cool like group of instruments.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds great. Really, really cool.
Yeah, I've heard it before and it blew my mind.
Yeah. Oh,
I just like, yeah, I'm just dreading because I don't have that much hard drive space. But
yeah.
I will figure that out.
External. Go just
Yeah.
dump the whole thing on an external and just run it
I
off
think
that.
I'd have to reinstall all of the native instrument stuff, wouldn't
I
I? To
think so.
redirect it.
Maybe. I don't know.
Don't know about that one. Anyway,
Don't know about that one.
I'll figure that out. Yeah.
But yeah, that's a cool. Like I use the session strings for the majority of my strings playing. There's also an action strings one if you want like that dun 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 dun. It's like got a whole bunch of patterns of like
more stabby kind of stuff.
yeah, like that like big epic scene ones. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of so those are most of your staples there. I'm thinking about some of some trap bass and drums would be dirty behind some shoegazy guitar. I tell you what that is. That's Little Peep right there. What you're describing. Trap bass and drums with shoegazy guitar is exactly what Little Peep is, and also Young Lean. That's like that emo, like lo-fi emo rap.
Yeah. Oh, you definitely showed me that. I remember that.
It's what the kids are listening to these days. Sad kids, sad rap kids.
Yeah.
But it's really good. Like I ain't dissing it. I like it all.
Yeah.
Anyway, off topic.
All right. So what's in your arsenal of trick smart?
All right. So I got some staples as well.
Yeah.
One of them. So I use a lot of the Arturia instruments for a whole bunch of my stuff. The Arturia piano is what I use for, I would say, 90% of my piano sounds are that.
Yeah.
And I just manipulate that. The other, I sometimes use piano from the Contact Library. They've got some pretty cool sounds in there. They've got this one called... Shit, what's it called? Man, I've forgotten what it's called. It's this piano that they built and then sampled it, and it's like 2 stories high. This piano, it's insane.
Okay.
It's just got this like massive sound, and it's huge. So that's like I sometimes use that when I'm looking for something a bit more epic. There's a piano preset from Logic that is called Ghost Piano, and I love that.
Oh, I know exactly the one you're talking about.
Yeah, you know it. I use it
that,
so much for just like whack piano sounds. So
that's a sick preset.
That's on my my list of shit.
Yeah.
Everyone's suggesting ways that we can turn rock and roll songs trap, which I think is funny. Those are my piano kind of go-tos. 808s is a big one for me, because I'm always using 808s, and I messed with a whole bunch of different samples and a whole bunch of different synthesizers that get 808 sounds, but I'm down to 2 now that I use regularly, that are my favorite, and one of them is the Arturia Mini, which is a replica of the Moog Mini synthesizer, and there's a preset on there that's called 808 Boom or something like that, and I layered that up with some extra plugins, and that is like one of my favorite instruments, 808 instruments. And then the other one is Slamming Samples 808s.
Our boy.
So
our boy Timmy Counterfeit.
Slammingsamples.com for all of you guys who need awesome sounding analog samples. This guy's got like gear. This guy has an original 808, which man, there's 3,000 in the world, and they were only built between 1980 and 1983. So there ain't
Yeah.
many of them, and he's got one.
No,
Um,
so good.
and he's sampled them all like original way, and then put them in high quality into the computer, and sells them for
Yeah. So if you want
for
some
dollars.
authentic samples,
slammingsamples.
slammingsamples.com is where you should go.
Hit the affiliate link down below.
Yeah. I'll put that shit in the description.
Hell yeah.
Slamming samples, that boy.
Our boy. And so I actually use his tuned 808 samples that he made, and those are the other ones I use, because they are, when I want something that's a little bit more raw and a bit more like grimy and ghetto-y, I definitely use those.
Yeah.
And it's not an instrument, but Decapitator is what I use to distort all of my basses and 808s. I almost use it as an instrument.
What do you use on the Jax Kanye beat?
Oh. The Jax Kanye beat.
I'm gonna let you answer that. I gotta pee real quick. I'll be back.
Yeah, go for it. I can't remember 100% right now because I've made so many beats, but I believe that one would have been the mini bass, like the Arturia mini synth, and I would have probably distorted that a little bit with with some with Decapitator from Sound Toys. So yeah, I won't be able to tell you 100% on that one, but I'm gonna guess that it's gonna be the Arturia Mini Moog sampler. Other bass instruments that I use regularly, Massive makes some really cool bass.
Oh yeah,
like they've got some great sounds in the bass there. I use that mini
Massive are really good.
for like most of my bass sounds. There's a preset in the mini plugin that's called A Bass You'll Use. And that's the name of the preset. And I clicked on it, and I'm like, I will use that. And I use it so often, it's ridiculous. It is such a good sound. So that's that's up there. Apart from that, synthesizers, I mean, FM8, like I actually make quite a lot of an effort to go through all of my synths quite often and play around with different sounds, because a lot of my inspiration comes from playing with presets and sounds and the different way that different synths work. Another synth that I have that I haven't talked about yet is the Anna 2 from Sonic Academy, and that comes free with the Slate digital bundle. And that is a really, really diverse sounding synth that has some great sounding presets, which I use quite a lot. Some really dank, detuned trap pianos and shit like that, like really nice sounds. So, yeah. That,
you know, it'd be really cool actually. Is doing one of these podcasts, but you have to make a song entirely out of presets.
Oh man!
Whether that's like a full rock song,
okay,
like with real drums, or a full electronic song, you can only make. Well, that's like we could make it like whatever, but that'd be like a really cool
only presets,
like a podcast. Would you guys want to see that? Something like that. Just like us just trying to do like a really quick mix with just presets. You know, you only have like 20 minutes or something like that. 15, 20 minutes. So just
wait, are we writing it or are we mixing it?
Mixing.
Oh, okay. So software
writing and mixing a track in 20 minutes is a bit how you going.
I'd fucking do it.
Oh mate, I'd do it.
Let's do it.
I'll do it.
I mean, the majority of my, like, I mostly use presets on my instruments and then I manipulate them, whether it be in the instrument itself or with plugins afterwards.
Yeah.
but you just using the presets.
Just you can't alter them. You have
Can't
to just
alter
choose
them.
a preset, accept it, and move on.
Okay, we can
Red
do
Hot
it.
Chili Peppers. Green Day
Question:
Trap.
Can we use? Can we
They really want
use?
trap.
Can we put on an EQ plugin and then use presets from that on top of the synthesizer?
Yeah,
Okay,
as long as it's a preset.
as long as it's a preset. So we can just stack presets until we get the sound that we want.
I guess so.
Hell yeah.
That'd be pretty fun, actually.
Red Hot Chili Peppers Green Day Trap half hour with presets. Fuck. Yeah, okay. I'd do it.
That'd be
It's insane. Oh, I've got another staple. You guys are gonna learn all of my fucking tricks. A bell sound. I use like one bell sound on so many of my tracks that it's ridiculous. Like I would say 1 in 5 of my beats has this bell sound in it, and it's the same
That's
preset
awesome.
every time. It's a preset from Massive, and I can't remember what the bell sound's called now. It's called Bell or Pad. It's called Bell or Pad, and I love it.
Okay.
It is such a good preset. It's
Yeah.
it's what I find really cool about it is it sounds great across the whole keyboard for different ideas. So like you get like use it on the low keys and get like a really like bong, like deep like churchy kind of bell, and then you can use it up top for like a really flourishy, dank trap bell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's sick. There's a secret to Tiny Mountain songs as well.
what's that? Tell us.
We have this there's this synth in Logic called the bells. I think is it synth bells.
Oh yeah.
And if you get that synth and play it, you'll just be like, oh my god, these guys use this all the time. It's like one of our renowned synth sounds for Tiny Mountain. So that's a fun fact.
I was going through. Shit, I can't even remember what. I think it was the Anna, the Sonic Academy Anna synth, and I was playing like just scrolling through presets trying to find something that I wanted, and I was actually live streaming when I saw this, and I found this sound, and as soon as I played it, I was like, "Yo, that sound is 100%." This the main synth sound from this Danny Brown song that I really like, and I was like,
Yeah.
that is insane. I mean, it could be a replica, someone could have tried to like remake it or something, but I'm telling you, man, it was like the same. Like I heard it, I'm like, that is definitely the same thing,
Yeah.
which is really cool. Like, and
It's pretty funny to know that, like, bigger artists are just doing exactly the same thing. They just hit a preset and go, I like that. And
Yeah.
just go with it.
yeah,
And then
definitely.
there's so many forums of, like, artists that I really admire. And everyone's just like, oh, yeah, they just use this preset in Massive. And it's just like, you select it and you're like, oh my God. It's like, it actually is exactly the same.
It's the same one, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
you,
it's
like
sick. I love that.
there's like if you think people are like, imagine if you like took Massive or any synth that you use. Like, I mean, for you it's a little bit different because you're using a lot of software instruments. But like, I mean, say even like whatchamacallit, addictive drums. Like, imagine
Yeah.
if every single time you wanted to record a track, you went like you took a blank preset. Like, so there was no
Like, chose all the sounds individually.
yeah, and there was no pre-done EQ on it to get like the sound. There was no like the sounds weren't mixed. I mean, I'm assuming you use presets on addictive drums.
Of course.
Yeah, and then you manipulate it from there. Like,
Yeah.
and every single synth you started with like, that sine wave sound that you get at the start of your synth, which is nothing. and it's like, and you have to create the sound from scratch. It would take you
Hours and hours.
hours just to get a decent sound that will probably sound trash compared to using presets.
Yeah.
And it's uninspiring. I personally.
What's the thing? It's like I think presets are like the best thing, and they make your workflow so practical.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I've told you before, like I'll set a day aside. I'm like, you know what? I don't really feel like writing music today, but I feel like making presets. I just feel like making cool sounds.
Yeah.
So I'll just go through and make like a new kit on Addictive, and then I'll figure out some new guitar tones and just add them to my my box of tricks.
Yeah. I mean, it's great to do
And then
and great to learn,
yeah,
but it really hinders the creative process when you try and create a synth from scratch as you're trying to write a song at the same time. Like I think those are kind of two different skills that require two different mindsets.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, all the like hardcore synth lords are just like getting really upset right now.
Especially if they use actual synths.
Yeah.
Because
see that
I guess you have to right. You have to do it from scratch every time.
That sounds so tedious to me. Like I can't imagine doing that. It sounds like such a boring way of doing things. But I would also love to have some of those synths and playing around with them. Having said that, though,
definitely.
If I owned a Mini, like a Moog Mini, I can almost guarantee that I would not use it on most of my beats. I'd use it sometimes because I'd feel like I had to justify the purchase, but I'd 90% of the time be using software stuff.
Yeah, it's just more practical.
Way more practical.
Sorry, I'm scratching my dog's belly.
Thought you were doing something else down there.
No, mate.
No, mate.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
Yeah. So I'd say those are my go-tos a lot of the time. I'm trying to think what else I got. There's so many little things that I've managed to get over the time. Oh, do you know Spitfire Audio?
No.
They've got some cool synths, but they've got this pack called Labs, which give you a bunch of different sounds. I think you get a strings, like a bunch, like a pack of strings, cellos, and keys. I think that's it. And it's just one sound of each of those, or maybe like two or three sounds. I don't know how many. It's not very manipulable. Like there's no knobs on actually changing the sound. The only knob is putting reverb on it and how much reverb you put on there. So really, really simple. But there's some great sounding strings and keys in that as well.
Yeah.
So if you want some free stuff, they've got.
So Spitfire Audio, you said, right?
Yeah, Spitfire Audio. I found myself using their cello sound the other day. I downloaded it years ago because I thought, like, may as well. Free shit, gotta dig it. But ended up really fucking with it. And you know, one of the Native Instruments, which is really cool, is is Reactor. I still haven't quite figured out what Reactor is, because it seems to have audio manipulation in there. I should probably watch a video on it, but there's some really cool sounds in the instruments on that. And if you want a Moog Mini synth, there's one in Reactor that is quite good and has some awesome sounds in it.
Okay.
And if you get that, I'll show you how to get an 808 sound that'll make your grandma weep.
I know, I still need to dip into the Native Instruments side of things.
Oh, dude, there's so much.
There's so much shit that I just know that I'll waste like a full week on just playing around with that shit and not actually writing shit. I'll just be playing. I'll just be like a kid in the candy store.
You got to kind of like put aside like 5 minutes to check out a section of it.
Yeah.
Their LA2A compressor is quite good.
Okay.
I use that quite a bit. I
I
don't.
haven't even used any of their plugins per se.
I
Like,
they've got some cool ones. I know we're not talking about plugins as much, but th- they've got a couple of like drivers and like they've got a distortion user. I think it's called the driver. I can't remember. And they've also got this one which is like a saturating compressor that's really cool. I think we talked about
yeah.
them last time, but I don't use much of the Native Instruments plugins that much, but those ones are pretty cool.
Hmm.
Most of them are just SSL 1176 ripoffs. The stuff that you get on every pack. So
Yeah.
they're not the best.
That's cool.
Yeah, but cool. But cool.
That's cool, man. That's cool. That's cool.
That's cool, bro.
What else? What else instrument wise? What about percussion? You still use battery for percussion as well?
Depends. Yeah, I use battery for some percussion. I use contact for more specific percussion. So Contact's got this pack called Western Africa or African Western. I don't know. The Western African Instruments, which has
Yeah.
got some really cool percussive packs in there. I use that quite a lot. I think that's the best percussion. Like they've got like orchestral percussion in there as well, and a bunch of different stuff in the factory library, which is like really good. So I do use that for quite a bit of percussion. I use some of the Apple loops for percussion, and I manipulate them and chop them up. They're great, but yeah, a lot of my percussion is battery, and I also create percussion myself quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like using my voice or hitting my desk or dinging a glass.
Yeah.
There's a synth right there,
Classic. That's it.
buddy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One of my
I remember,
sorry, what did you say?
I was gonna say I remember when we made that track at your place, that I think is still available.
Oh yeah, it would be.
There was like this glass bowl on the ground, and it ended up being like one of the main parts of the beat.
Yeah, we used that in a few different ways.
Yeah.
Stuck a mic in it, recorded the guitar
Yeah, it
through
was that
the
mic
bowl.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we stuck it right in the middle of it. Yeah.
And it got this whack sound. That was interesting, actually.
Love that shit.
All right, catch you later, Rex Khan. Have a good one, bro.
Peace out, Rex Khan.
Yeah, and we we hit the bowl, made it a synth, or we made it a percussion or something. I don't know what we did, but yeah. I also this coffee mug. Oh wait, that sound.
Yeah.
I turned that into a synth once. I'm trying to get the right hit. Yeah, it's better when
Nice.
it's not full. But yeah, you can turn anything into a synth or a piece of percussion.
Yeah.
And
I
you
pretty
can,
much just use Addictive Drums because they've got like a really good percussion pack. But I use
Oh,
some
really?
Logic stuff as well.
What do
Just
they
like
got
some
in there?
standard Logic. Just like heaps of like blocks, tambourines, weird drums, clicks,
yeah.
claps, all that kind of stuff.
With percussion,
I love that.
I like whack stuff.
Yeah.
Like I like sounds that aren't instruments in my percussion. I like. I think there's enough instruments in a beat. I like to use. Actually, remember when we went and did that sample pack?
Oh yeah, I remember.
At the lake.
That's right. Yeah.
So-
At the lake.
So, me and Trav went to a park and we had a stereo recorder, a plate microphone, a drumstick. That was it.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, and we went around and they had like all these workout sections and stuff and signs and
Yeah,
different
like a bunch of outdoor gyms.
yeah, and like bins
Yeah.
and shit and like poles, and we just sampled everything that you could hit with a stick pretty much.
Yeah.
and created a pack of just noises. And I use a
I like the bridge was sick. The kick drum bridge.
oh, actually I used that on a track recently as the kick
Did
drum.
you? It's a
Yeah,
solid kick.
such a good kick.
Yeah.
And what the one that got me, which gets used a couple of times, is remember there's that pedal, and we hit it was like a bike pedal, but it was like a standing still bike pedal. You hit the pedal.
That's right. We
when
kicked it. Yeah, that crazy sound. Yeah.
yeah, and I've used that on a couple of tracks here and there.
You know what's crazy is actually the other day. This is another track that I wrote. Like I think it was last week. I sent it to you. But there's a sample of actually my doggo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you know how I can make him bark on command. So I did that, but mic'd him up. And then ended up using that as percussion. I ended up like kind of distorting it and down tuning it, and like it came out like it kind of sounded like. Kind of ended up sounding like a big clap in like a basketball stadium.
Oh,
I don't know
really?
how I can't remember exactly how I got that sound, but yeah,
That's
it's
cool.
like super cool. It sounds like super unique. So I'm like, well, that's fucking sick. I love using that kind of shit.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
bring life
yeah.
to your
Like
track.
it's. I mean, everybody's heard a wood block. Everybody's heard a tambourine. Everybody's heard a shaker.
That's it.
Like all those
It's
sounds.
those textures that you're adding in
Yeah, you got
that gives the song a bit of a different feel to it. You know.
yeah, and having a good sampler is a important element. To
Yeah,
that.
it's a good start.
Good
Yeah,
start. Yeah,
absolutely. I plan on using that heaps.
yeah. Oh man, that Logic sampler. All right,
That's it,
let's.
that's it.
I'm just thinking about more software synth stuff. I don't
I don't really use any more than I've mentioned. I
slap
keep
bass.
it quite simple.
Bass slapper.
Hey,
Waves bass slapper is a a slap bass instrument from Waves that's actually really good. So if you want to add the funk, that's one that I use every so often. Although it is super heavy on processing, so make sure you're not doing anything else when you use it.
Yeah.
It has to be a solo bass slap song.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the only other thing that we haven't really spoke about, but I haven't got any. But like, there's a lot of like vocal synthesis
Oh yeah.
stuff as well,
I got
which I haven't used.
wait, like
But
you
I would
mean
look into.
like vocoder kind of things.
Yeah.
I
There's heaps of them now. There's heaps of them.
I use
There's like
them.
do like all whack vocal effects and all that kind of shit. Yeah.
I tell you which one you should get. 100%. Isotope vocal synth.
I've actually looked that up because that's one I've been eyeing off for a long time.
It
I wonder if
fucking
that's on Spotify right now.
rules, bro. It is so good.
You have it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I use it all the time. For just like
you
fucking
son
shit
of
up.
a bitch.
Son of a bitch. I'm a like I don't really talk about it that much, but I use a lot of Isotope stuff. Like Isotope Trash is like one of my staples. Isotope Vocal Synth is probably
Oh, I still haven't used that. I've been meaning to use that.
get on it.
I've been so busy mixing my new single,
Which you should
that
buy.
I just haven't had time to.
Oh, wait, you can't buy
mess
it 'cause
around
it's
with
not out yet.
Much
Because you
I
haven't
know it's not
released
out
it.
yet. That's right. You have to wait.
You have
God
to
damn
wait.
it.
But yeah, Isotope Vocal Synth is insane with how much you can do with it. There's
Yeah. Yeah. I
it's got
remember
like
looking into this a while ago, and I was like, I need to buy this.
yeah, it's got like 4 or 5 different vocal processing engines. It's got an auto tuner, like a hard auto tuner in it, which is fucking cool.
$200.
Ooh, American?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
pretty
a
rough.
bit steep. I think I paid that much back in the day, which
Yeah.
I mean it was a long time ago, so that money doesn't mean anything to me now. But I can I can imagine not wanting to buy it right now. And also has a whole bunch of processing inside it as well, so you can like add chorus and reverb and delay and distortion and filtering and blah 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 blah, all that different stuff within the plugin, and like create pretty epic presets with it. So yeah, I think it's a really cool plugin.
Yeah.
Also,
definitely one that I want to achieve, like, you know, I
It's-
definitely look into and get.
it's a vocoder as well. So you can sing something into it, and then it's a bit whack. You gotta set up a MIDI instrument, and then you have the isotope vocal synth on the MIDI instrument, and then you got to have the sidechain input of that instrument as the vocal channel. But then whatever you play on the keyboard is the is the chords, and it sings it, and it sounds fucking sick. Like it's like
So
it's like a full on vocoder.
Vocoders are real cool, man.
Yeah. Actually, I should use that more now that I think about it. The only thing that I don't like
Definitely.
about it is it's a little bit cumbersome to set up quickly.
Yeah.
It's not like a really quick setup. You got to kind of like patch shit into shit and make sure it sounds good, get a good patch going, and yeah. The other one that is quite good, it's a lot less powerful but sounds quite good, is Morphoda from Waves,
Oh yeah.
which I use quite a bit as well, for more simple stuff.
Let's see what that's going for. Oh, do I have this?
How much is it?
I wonder if I've got this.
If you've got it, that's quite. It's like, it's not. Yeah, it's not as quite as powerful as vocal synth, but it has most of the same capabilities, namely that you can do the chords. Yeah, like play the chords in, and have it as a MIDI instrument as well. So
Yeah.
I think
It's
that's
going for $50 right now.
damn, son. I mean, that's actually
Yeah.
kind of expensive.
Yeah.
How much is it normally?
80. This is all American pricing.
Wait till it goes down to $30.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd buy that. I'd probably just save up for the
Vocal
isotope
synth.
one, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've heard examples of the isotope one. I'm just like, that thing's just
It's insane, bro.
so sick.
It's insane. Like, I used to use it a lot more when I was rapping, for like choruses and stuff, and even backings. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and would use it more now. Like, great for
Yeah.
making pop music.
Hell yeah. I've just noticed that you're at 399 subscribers, so we need one more to hit 400. So if anyone who's
Oh.
watching this video who's not subscribed, you should definitely just
Damn,
the old-
399.
399. We're gonna get to that 400.
That's when they give me gold plaque, isn't it?
You need a couple more zeros, mate.
Couple
on
more
the,
zeros.
that one.
400,000 subscribers.
400,000 million billion.
Oh man.
Yeah. Have we exhausted our software instrument talk?
I think we may have. I don't know
Yeah.
of what much else we got. I mean, we've been on here for
We've been on for a while now.
Almost
We've been on for about
getting
100
close-
minutes.
close to 2 hours now.
Yeah. So it's probably a good time to call it, I guess.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll just talk about Wednesday. We're going to do another podcast on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And we're actually gonna do our first podcast with some guests on board. So we're gonna have Riley, who's an electronic producer, and we're also gonna have John, who's the drummer from a really really good band called the Colbys, and he also does he's a DJ and he does some electronic production as well. So we're gonna have those guys on board, and we're just gonna talk gear and fun things.
Talk it.
So that'll be sick.
Do they want to talk?
Wednesday night.
Do they want to talk about writing processes as well, or?
I think they wanted to talk about a little bit about workflow, which is really
Workflow.
cool. Yeah.
So gear and workflow will be what we'll be on, and we'll be chatting with electronic music producers, which is will be like a completely unique kind of perspective, because I know like what I do is technically electronic music, but I feel like my mindset isn't that of an electronic music producer, because I'm
Yeah.
making it with the idea that someone else is going to be put on top of it, whereas they're creating a track that is like it is the main, like it's the feature, whereas I'm making
Yeah.
a track for a feature. They're making a track that is the feature, so they're going to have a lot more um, songwriting kind of emphasis in there, which is really cool.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, you should definitely tune in on Wednesday.
Hell yeah.
For that. That'll be sick.
But
And it'll be a great
if we're
time, I reckon.
talking, actually, it'll be shit. What will it be in America? It'll be Wednesday.
Oh, I don't have the brain capability. Ugh,
It'll be
I
Wednesday.
can't
It'll be
think
Wednesday
quick.
morning in America for y'all. If you're in New York, you're gonna be joining in at
Yeah.
like 5:30 a.m. So good luck with that.
Oof. Yeah. Yeah, I
If
guess we'll probably end up doing it at about like 7:30 ish
7:30
Melbourne
p.m.
time.
Melbourne time,
Yeah.
which is also Sydney and Canberra time. Pretty much whole east side of, sorry, yeah, east side of Australia time.
East Coast.
East Coast Australia time is the only coast. Um,
Hell
but if you're in America, it'll be sometime Wednesday morning, depending on where you are located. So you can peep that if you're
Hell
about.
yeah.
So yeah,
Awesome.
let's call it there.
Well,
Thanks so
do it.
much for listening in. If you do like this podcast and you have suggestions of things that you want to hear, we are open to it. We've got shit to talk about, but we are happy to talk about anything, and any excuse to increase the amount of episodes that we do. Just give
Absolutely.
it to us.
So just yeah, hit us up. Chuck them in the comments and all that shenanigans.
Hells yeah.
Hell yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
Well,
Well, until Wednesday,
peace out, everybody.
keep it real. Yeah, we'll see you then.
Laters.